Good morning. It's November 16th, 6 a.m., half an hour before the market opens. Over the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about how the markets have been really, really strong. They've had huge momentum on their way up. And yesterday, we finally saw a pause in that momentum. So at this point, we're not sure if that means a sideways chop or a pullback that we've been anticipating for a few days now. The pullback, there's a lot of reasons for us to believe in the pullback, but we never know for certain. We can never say 100% certainty exactly what is going to happen. So we just have to watch and see what the market does. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we look this morning and if we have evidence of a pullback or more chop. And it looks like more chop. S&P is up almost nothing in the futures market. NASDAQ is down a tiny bit, 0.1%, and Dow also about 0.1%. So this is random and non-directional. So that supports chop, at least in the initial opening of the market. So let's see if we have any clues on how that developed. So in the pre-market, we can see that we're trading in this small range right here, but spike right here at 524 in the volume, another spike over here just a couple minutes ago, and at 530, 530 is when we have this little gap up and we started to move upwards, because before we were just going sideways. So we want to see what the economic news at 5:30 was. When it lands exactly at 6 o'clock or 6:30 or on the hour or on the half hour, most likely that's a news report. So we'll go over here to our economic calendar, 5:30 jobless claims, Fed manufacturing index, and import exports. So let's take a look at jobless claims. Okay, so they're worse. A little bit worse than expected, but not crazy out of range. So this would have dragged it down. So it's not jobless claims. Manufacturing index consensus was down 11 and we are only down 5.9. So this is a positive. So we're still manufacturing. That's positive for the economy. And then import and export prices. So prices are down a lot more than we expected. So both imports and exports. So that's supporting the inflation theory that inflation is coming down. So that's probably why this import-export and the Philadelphia Manufacturing Index. So we also have industrial production, but that's not out for another 10 minutes. So it looks like we received slightly positive news. It's enough to move the market a little bit, but this is not a huge movement. So those weren't huge reports. Those were the majority of the movement happened when CPI was announced a couple of days ago. This huge gap up right here. So you can see this is just, maybe it just looks like noise. This is about half the range of the day session of yesterday, but so was the previous day's pre-market. Actually, previous day's pre-market was almost maybe 3/4 of the day's range. So we are seeing some movement in the morning, but not a huge amount. So far, everything is looking like consolidation, continued sideways movement for today. So unless we come in and we see profit taking today, then we're probably going to continue to chop, because we don't have many catalysts. The economic news we just went over, and that wasn't a big deal. Everyone is expecting with almost 100% certainty that the Fed isn't going to move interest rates. So unless bonds start moving for other than interest rate reasons, then the only thing we have left is earnings. And today, after market close, we only have 19 across the entire US market. So that's not going to be a huge influence. Let's see about tomorrow before market. An additional 6. So 25 companies out of the entire 7,000 stocks in the US market. Let's see if we have anything significant This is a wholesale club. And then today after market close. AMAT Semiconductors, so that will be interesting to watch. Copart is a reasonably large B2B, I believe, software. So that's more along tech. Gap, we have that's retail. And we have Ross Stores, also retail. So a couple more retails reporting, but we got the bulk of that information already. We got the retail sales. We had Target, TJ Maxx. And this morning we had Walmart. Let's take a look at Walmart. So that'll be on our radar for today trade. You can see that it went way down. So people did not like what they had to say, even though they had positive earnings surprises. They weren't positive by very much, so pretty much in line. But obviously, they said something that investors didn't like, probably about their outlook for the future. And there was also in the news lately, they've been talking about this new weight loss drug, Ozempic. They're selling Ozempic, but also they're seeing a decline in snack foods at the same time. So that could be a reason why we're trading down in Walmart. And this is going to be a big drag on the S&P right here. Walmart pulling way down like this and not recovering as much as we saw in this index right here. This is going to be a dead weight in the market today. So it's going to be difficult for the S&P to move significantly higher. We might hit that local resistance. It'd be kind of surprising if we hit the local high today with Walmart down here. We also had Macy's report today, and Macy's is up. So people liked how Macy's was going. So retail in general is doing well, but we do have some earnings surprises. Even though we're up, the movement is downwards. Just like yesterday, we saw Target. We had earnings surprises and it popped up. But with TJ Maxx, we also had earnings surprises and it went down. So the market here is really fragmented in terms of what direction that it wants to go. So this supports sideways movement. But again, I still have all the reasons that I've laid out over the past few days on why I believe in a pullback. They're still operating. We just have to see how everything plays out. Let's get a few levels on this chart over here. We already have possible overhead resistance. We're reacting to that in the pre-market. We also have this previous close. So there's a lot of consolidation around the previous close. And we have a lot of consolidation right here near, and we'll identify this as a low for the pre-market session. And not a whole lot else to help us out here. Let's see if we can get a line. Let's also do this, the lows of yesterday. Or not the lows, the bounce where we bounced off midway through the session. So we'll add that right there. If we stay within this local high and that purple, that'll be consolidation. If we break it down, then we'll be pulling back. If we break up, then we might be reaching for the local high over here. Let's see if there's anything else for us to look. Walmart had earnings, so we'll pay attention to that in terms of possible day trades. So we'll draw our levels here. And instead of Macy's and another earnings play and another retailer, let's take a look at Baba. Alibaba Group, Chinese stock. Big movement downwards. They did have earnings as well, but they're more related to the Chinese stock market than the US stock market. You can see gap down before even earnings. And that might be because of things that happened in China. So the Chinese market has been doing very poorly. It's down again last night in last night's trading because they're really struggling with their real estate and their real estate valuations. So there's a big dead weight in the Chinese market. Their exports are also slowing down. I read a blurb, a headline yesterday. Haven't verified it and I didn't read it yet, but that according to that headline, exports from Mexico have surpassed exports from China now, which is crazy to think about, that Chinese exports might have declined that much. So I need to verify that. I don't want to say for sure that that is true. It's just something that flashed on my screen and I haven't gone and looked at it very carefully. But if that's true, then the Chinese economy is not doing very well at all. So we'll pay attention to BABA over here and see how it trades throughout the day. And that's it. There's not a lot to pay attention to. Like I said, there's not a lot of drivers in the market right now. And it looks like we might just consolidate. And if we do, it's going to be a pretty quiet day. There's not going to be a whole lot of, it's not going to be very exciting. But if we break down, then we'll get action over here. We'll start to move downwards, maybe approach the lows of 2 days ago, and then perhaps even start filling this gap right here. At this point, a pullback just looks like a gap fill or down to the EMA 8, which would be a complete gap fill. If it doesn't happen today and it happens tomorrow or Monday, then it would be a half gap fill. And then a really strong pullback would be pulling back to this sea green line right here. So the possibility of a pullback is still there and still very strong. It's just not as deep as we were anticipating in the past. All right, so we have to keep on updating ourselves as the market feeds us more information. So for now, we are still anticipating that pullback, but we'll see. Today, so far from the futures market and from everything that we've seen in the pre-market, is supporting more of a chop sideways today rather than a pullback. So we have that report coming out in a few minutes. Watch for that, see if that changes any of our lines right here, or if it adds any lines. But I really don't think so. This is industrial production, and it's not going to tell us anything that manufacturing index didn't tell and the PPI prices didn't tell us. So I highly doubt that's going to make a significant move in the market. Right, so let's go ahead and prepare ourselves for the market open and potentially a very, very quiet, dull day.